let's make this a dialogue. We're going to talk about investing in a minute, but, you know, was there anything that struck you from the last panel that you want to pick up on?
So, firstly, I think that we need to come back to the debate on legislation and the model of legislation. If I can say, in the competition between legislation and technology, technology will win because technology is faster. So we need to consider what kind of legislation we need, as less as possible, as strong as it is really necessary. So we need to consider in which areas we need strong regulation. Also, it means harmonization at the European level, because we need to overcome fragmentation of the European market, single market and digital single market. And on the other hand, we need to use all those forms related to soft law, because this is the opportunity for making some rules as a result of co-work of all stakeholders.
Well, let's talk about new rules, because there were some new rules passed kind of last night around midnight on the NIS directive about cybersecurity. And security is really important in the industrial Internet of Things. And so let's talk about that and the cost for companies. You know, now companies have to, if this all goes through as passed last night, have to disclose breaches. You know, there's a question of cost that people don't really talk about. We talk about we're going to talk about investment, but there's also a cost that's on the other side of that. That, you know, there's investment, but there's investment because you're paying a cost often. So can you talk about the cost that you're putting on industry by increasing security?
Okay, but the real cost and the real value of cybercrime is $550 billion in 2014. So this is a real cost. And I think that if we want to make our business activity and if we want to create trust among all our stakeholders and also for clients, so we need to invest in into the security. And if I'm talking with people representing the business, there is not the problem of cost. This is a problem if we will be ready to prepare standardized solutions, because standardized solutions are the key.
Well, let's ask Pablo.
For that.
He pays the cost. What's the cost?
Well, I think that what was approved yesterday or agreed yesterday, it's very important because it's a first step towards the level playing field. For the first time, when we are talking about cybersecurity, we are including not only our sector, but at least part of the other sectors. Then, for us, this is the first step in the right direction of the level playing field. Okay. And if I go back to the previous panel and in general what industrial internet is for us, I think that industrial internet is about digitalization, it's about transformation, and this is a revolution. And in any revolution, we will have winners and losers. And this will be companies that win, companies will have no success, but also geographical areas that will succeed. And this is why it is important to have a comprehensive view of industrial internet in Europe. Because this disruptive era means that we need in Europe the two pillars in order to succeed in the global arena, because our companies will have to compete in the global arena. And these two pillars are the networks, I mean the ubiquitous connectivity, and also interoperability of services. These are for us the two main pillars to achieve or to get some success. There is a figure that I would like to mention. It is said that 40% of the potential benefits of industrial internet will not be achieved if we are not able to make machines to speak each other, to work together. Then it is so important for us interoperability for the success of the industrial internet.
Can you be specific about Telefónica? Like, what are you investing in where to be more interoperable?
Well, I think that interoperability, we are investing in all our footprint, of course. But I think that when we are talking about the industrial internet, we are not talking about the traditional investment. We are not talking about fiber to the home or fiber to the network, to the node. Because what we need for industrial internet is not 100 megs. What we need is connectivity everywhere, and with very special characteristics, very special features. We need specialized services. We do not, we can do that with best effort, but not for everything. Then what it is important is to be able to invest everywhere, to reach every machine and every customer.
All right, let me ask you both then, who pays and how much?
On what? Investment.
Yes.
Well,
Let me ask Michał.
I would come back to the question, because you're asking only on costs, but in some situations, costs are investments.
Yes.
If we want to build the trustworthy market and trustworthy relations between all partners, so we need to invest. The question is, if in Europe we have the framework, regulatory and non-regulatory framework, for investments in telecommunication development, in internet development, because I'm thinking that through many years we have found the solutions on competition and create legislation which is important for competition. But now, and the result of this is the results of that are important for consumers, lower prices. But now we need to reorient our efforts for pro-investment activity and pro-investment incentives. What does it mean? Firstly, if we are talking about Internet of Things, we need to say that industrialization, internet industrialization, is related to the fast internet. To the really fast internet, it means 5G in the future. So we need to finish 4G in Europe, and we need to start 5G in Europe, because we need some reactions in milliseconds. This is the background for real effects of this Internet of Things. Secondly, the question is, if we need the model of checking competition, which is oriented on ex ante.
What do you mean when you say checking competition?
You know, now we have regulators in the country, and they are saying, okay, we see the market, and we need to regulate it, yes, and we have some suggestions, some recommendations to one operator. So
you say
and
monitoring.
Another. Yeah,
monitoring.
Monitoring and recommendations, and real recommendations. And okay, it was very important in 90s and in the beginning of 21st century.
But all this adds
But the
cost.
question is, but the question is not only to talk on this ex ante situation, but ex post, because only ex post we can evaluate, we can assess the real impact and also the costs which are made by companies.
Pablo,
but
let me-
if I may,
Please.
I don't like to talk about cost. For us, it's not a cost; it's an investment.
Okay.
And if you have an you make an investment, you
But you
have some
prefer the cost.
expectation about a return on investment. But we spend money on privacy and security for our customers. These two issues are very important, and it's a cost, but it is also an investment, because our customer will be happier if we provide them with privacy and security. This is a kind of investment in the future. Then we invest not only in networks, but we would like to invest also in privacy and security.
Let me ask you about the broader investment issue on the Internet of Things. Where should the investment be coming from as a ratio, from the companies themselves versus government?
You know, when we are talking about markets, so we need the better model and better incentives for companies, yes? And we can discuss in which areas we need public support, also European money or governmental money. But I think that this is the task for the market. So it means that we need, during the review of telecommunications legislation in 2016, we need to review it, also thinking about those investment possibilities for the companies. The first thing is and I would like to put this question, if we will have stronger harmonization and stronger consolidation of the European market, thinking not only about competition among operators in one country, but competition of operators, of European operators among all over the world, among continents. So it would be much more expensive, or rather it will reduce the cost. So this is one thing. The second, it's important you have started on interoperability, standardization. Now it's impossible when we are talking about one factory from France and one factory from Germany on automotive sector, and we are talking on connected cars. There is no possibility because standards are similar but not the same. At that area, we need the same standards.
Okay, what I can say is that, for instance, Telefónica is based in Spain and with presence in different countries. During the period of the crisis, the big crisis of Spain in the last 4 years, we have increased our investment. We are now in a figure that is impressive. It's 17%, 1/7 of our revenues are invested in the networks. That's a huge amount of money, a huge amount of capex. And why? Because we have a regulation that was not bad in Spain, and that has created a competitive framework in Spain. But let me go back to the issue of interoperability. It is absolutely true that we need to be interoperable, and we need standards. And the problem we face is that we need new standards for IoT, for instance. And it is very difficult to set standards in Europe, because we have a framework that limits our capability to a standard setting, because all the horizontal cooperation is, let's say, monitored. And I think that we need some more flexible approach to this kind of horizontal cooperation if we do not want to inhibit completely the creation of standards. And I would like to give one very clear example. We are very proud, and I think this is the way ahead of standardization in smart cities. Smart cities is one of the most important areas of Internet of Things and industrial Internet. And in this specific area, there is a private-public partnership with the European Commission, and we have been able to create a standard. And we consider that this is very relevant. If this standard succeeds, we may recreate the success of GSMA in the past.
GSM. You wanted to say something on this?
You know, in 2020, we will have over 50 billion devices, electronic devices all over the Europe, yes? So if you want to communicate all of those devices, it is a background for the Internet of Things. So I think that we need standardization, not only European, we need global standardization, point one. Point second, which is important, I'm coming back to costs. We are talking also on increasing of usage of the Internet via new services, via new products. Increasing usage will create increasing revenues for companies. And it will be the background for increasing investment. Yes, those 3 points, 3 factors are key for that.
Does the European Union have a greater role to play in investing in the interoperability of systems?
You know, we have approved the new ISA2 project, which is supporting governments and relation between governments, administration, and NGOs.
The new things, not just what you've already done, but should you be doing more?
You know, the new thing is to understand what interoperability means. That there is no possibility for the simple interoperability which allowed for communication between one internet system with the other, but also that we can exchange some kind of semantic interoperability, which means the possibility of common language and reading, yes, and reactions and interpretation. This is the background. So we need to promote it, and of course, this is a question. If we will create all those key points for digital single market, it will be obvious for everybody that interoperability is much better than the lack of interoperability. And I think that all companies and also all countries will be involved in that process.
I mean, everyone's in favor of interoperability, I think, overall.
Of course.
this-
I
when
think that we need to provide seamless services. This is all about seamless, the ability to provide connectivity everywhere. And we need interoperability. And we need standards able to connect our networks with a plethora of services in the industrial
And
internet.
should that be Telefónica's financial responsibility?
Well, I think that it
They
is
want
not.
to compete.
We want to compete, and I think that in this regard, it's very important that we are in the again back to the issue of the level playing field. We want to compete in equal footing. We were talking about privacy. Why we should have different privacy regulation than other companies? Then it is important to compete to be in equal in a level playing field scenario. Then interoperability, yes. Standardization, yes. But standardization is an issue for the private sector. But we do need the policymakers to support all the industry efforts to standardize solutions. That's why I mentioned that GSM was a big success in Europe and was supported by the European Commission at this point in time. And this is now we have the opportunity to create a new, to set a new standard in the future. If we are able to do that, European companies will succeed in the industrial internet era.
So what I'm hearing you saying is that you need a level playing field to standardize standards, cost expectations, so that you can make investments and evaluate costs. Costs of privacy, investing in networks.
But what it is more important probably is that European companies are able to compete. And when we are talking about European companies, we are talking about all sectors, all kinds of industry.
I didn't make the difference. Why did you?
Because I understand from your words that you're referring to the telco sector. And it is true that we have to invest. But in the industrial internet, it's about all sectors, about all industries, not only about the telco. We are very well prepared because we know very much about digitalization, about transformation. But industrial internet is for every sector.
Who in the audience thinks that the European Union should play a bigger role in investing in the internet industrial era? Hands up. Very few, though. You're in the minority.
But what does it mean, invest in the internet?
Invest. Spend more.
European
Spend more.
money,
Spend more.
European money
Make money more
to
available.
promote.
Spend more.
Okay.
Spend more. Spend more. Spend more. Ooh, more hands. All right, questions. Also, since you have your hands up, I'm prompting you. Hands up. Questions for, please, in the back there.
The Guardian published an article called In Search of European Google. Aside from the Google debate, the interesting data is that the top 3 internet companies in Europe are worth 25 billion. The top 3 internet companies in Africa are worth 50 billion. When we move to Asia, we approach the trillion. When we move to North America, we are clearly nearly the trillion. So my question is, does Europe need a European Google? And what's your recipe to tackle the problem of the investment gap?
Okay. 15, 18 years ago, there were no Google. So I think if we create a good ecosystem for startups development, so we will have the opportunity to create future Google, because in the digital era, everything is possible. Everything is possible. And I think that the first responsibility, the first task for European Union and the European institutions is to prepare a good framework, regulatory, as I have mentioned, and non-regulatory, to promote solutions. At the area of interoperability, we decided as a parliament in cooperation with Commission and Council to have a platform for promotion of the best solutions, the best practices, and so on and so on. And this is the key. The second point, money. We need to consider if in Europe we have we have liquidity in the banking area and so on, but many banks in Europe are not involved in the processes of financing startups because this is a high level of risk. So this is a question if we need much more venture capital for much more risky investment. This is the work for European Commission, this is the work for European Parliament. And I'm a little against to say that, okay, if we want to have Internet of Things, we need to put at the table European money, because we need to put at the table companies' money, we need to put at the table national money and support from European money, but the framework is much more important than money.
We're out of time, but let me ask the last question of the audience. Who thinks that venture capital money is more effective than European Commission or European Union money? All right, perfect note to end on. Thank you very much. I'm going to ask Zoe back up for the next panel. Thank you very much.